I'll be straightforward. It seems these critics have something up their ass because they are wrong about Michael. Let me explain. Michael is the new Michael Jackson biopic, but let me begin with saying this. These critics can go suck it. Is this biopic perfect? It's not. But does it deserve all those negative reviews or the low score? Hell no. Because Michael is simply a great time for all the fans. It's a great time for all the people that grew up with Michael Jackson. For those that know his music, his videos, his lyrics, his dance moves, his life, this is for those that lived and breathed MJ while growing up. This is simply a celebration of Michael Jackson. Not every movie needs to have a message. We are allowed to have a good time in a theater with celebrating an icon. The icon whose light was always meant to shine. Thing is, I'm not sure what movie these critics saw because Michael has a few loud, bold, clear messages. To always let your light shine, to always believe in yourself, and to always push forward. The major discrepancy between the critics and the fans tells you there is something definitely off. I will say this, the story itself could have dug deeper in certain moments explored in the movie. A lot of things were kinda glazed over and not fully explored in great depth, but no way in hell does it deserve that such low rating of 38% rating score on Rotten Tomato. After seeing the movie 3 times, I can see why some of the critics have some thoughts on it, but I cannot understand why some gave it as low as 1 out of 5. This is not a shit movie, I will tell you what it is though, it's bad. Michael covers MJ's life from childhood until his bad era, between the 60s and the 80s. It covers the creation of the Jackson 5, then Off the Wall, then Thriller, and finishing things off with Bad. It was a bit rough seeing young Michael get beat by his father, Joseph. It was well known that Michael's father would not let him to get a break up until the performance was perfect. And all of that was showcased in this movie. But then we get to see Michael as a teenager, and this is the point of his life when he wants to shine, but as a solo artist or individually. This is when he starts realizing how he is outgrowing the group dynamic. Throughout the rest of the movie, there is a clear stance in Michael's head, and that is him being unique, that he only wants to be the best, and he is purely a perfectionist. And as he gets older, he only wants to venture out of the Jackson 5 and take control of him being solo and being fully creative, or simply take control of his creative side. The critics claim that this movie is hollow and has no story at all. Well, I disagree. You clearly see Michael as a kid struggling trying to have friends or make friends, because in his mind, he's different than any other kid. After all he does is work and go on tour and try to make money for his father or the family. And because of that, he is treated different by other kids around him. Kid Michael does not have any friends his age. He considers his pets his actual true friends here. Kid Michael needs to stay up late practicing. He needs to go touring. He needs to be on stage in front of everyone to see. And he does all of this with elegance. That is a sign of a true successful life, but yet a soon-to-be troubled life. I mean, hell, his own father would call him Big Nose. Who does that to a kid? There was a scene where Kid Michael hugs a producer in the studio, and up until that moment, we did not see Michael hug anyone. Maybe his mother, but not his father. This shows you how Kid Michael sees his father as a manager, not an actual bloodline that he can love and truly be sensitive with. And if the critics cannot see that, then I don't know what freaking movie they saw. And that's only the time frame in the movie when Michael was a kid, because as he gets older, more problems arise. As mentioned earlier, I do have to admit, there were some parts that were really glazed over, and time was not fully invested in pillar moments of Michael's life. Like one example is that darn Pepsi commercial accident. It was so rushed, and right after that, we only got one scene where he was in actual pain, and he was back on stage right away. That accident changed his life forever. He needed to start taking pain medication pills. He needed scalp surgery. He needed to wear a wig, but he recouped so quickly like nothing. I gotta say, the moment that I realized that scene was coming up, I was so mad inside because I know that in real life, they made his pill addiction come true. The hospital scene after really hit me in the feels though. He had a conversation with his mom, Catherine, and man, that hit deep. Another thing that was glazed over and barely even acknowledged was how Michael met Quincy Jones on the set of The Wiz. But Diana Ross opted out from being in the movie despite her character already being casted. So all of that had to be cut out, hence why there was a big time jump and why I felt like something was missing. I feel the making of the Wall album and Thriller album could have been more in depth too. I wish we got more scenes with him working in the studio. I'm not sure if you know this, but the entire third act had to be redone. That was because it was a misunderstanding with the MJ estate with the actual team behind the movie. The MJ estate messed up and told the team behind the movie that there's a clause in the case stating that the first allegation could not be in the movie. This is another reason why the movie was pushed back, but I won't complain because how the movie ended was just chef's kiss. I have to be honest though, when it just ended, I was thinking, wait, that's it? Is there more? But then, after it said MJ will return or something like that, I got some Avengers Doomsday's vibes, thinking, okay, MJ's gonna come back for Avengers Doomsday. I truly do wish we got a more in-depth Michael Jackson biopic, and I know there's gonna be part 2, so fingers crossed that we get more in that sequel. This is a fast-paced movie because things in this movie happen so quick after the other, and in my honest opinion, I feel it was better off being a trilogy. The first being him as a kid, second him being a teenager, and finally being an adult with all the shit that he went through. It could have been like Harry Potter, where each movie gets darker and darker. I gotta be real though, we the fans are going to go see Michael in the theater, not just for the plot, but mainly for the music. And every single scene that contains music was just perfection. This is when the movie is truly its strongest. Each music scene had people moving side to side in their seats and people slightly singing. On my second viewing, there was a kid next to me with his father, and during a certain scene, he was up and dancing and he was dressed like the MJ from the Motown performance. That just added to the already amazing vibes. I was dancing on my seat too and singing. And after the movie was over, people were still on the seats, just singing and dancing about, having a great time. It was basically like a live concert but in a theater. It was also beautiful to see, and man, this was almost an Avengers level type of event and theater. Each music scene just elevated everything to the top notch, and everyone in the theater were having a great time. But let's talk about the acting here though, because holy crap, Jaafar Jackson was just phenomenal. He embodies MJ, his mannerisms, his body language, his dancing, his singing, his tone of voice, his smile. I can go on and on, but I had to point out his casting of him being Michael Jackson, his uncle, was just on point. Jaafar Jackson was it. And I gotta say, apparently talent does truly run in the bloodline for the Jacksons. Joseph's and Catherine's performance, his parents were also pretty spot on. But I will say, the one character that I loved the most was Bill. Bill was MJ's security guard since a kid, and he actually passed away in real life, so my man, or good sir, may you rest in peace. Michael, Joseph, Catherine, Bill, all those characters were truly the backbone and the strongest point of this movie. Mainly Joseph and Michael. You get a sense of how Michael saw his father. Michael saw him as a person in charge and not as a real father. The real father figure here was Bill. Michael was not a perfect movie, and it does make it seem that Michael was kinda too perfect. Because nothing really bad happens to Michael Jackson here. Aside from being called Big Nose, he does get his nose surgery, and he does go through the Pepsi commercial accident, and then his skin condition. But other than that, nothing really drastic happened in his life. But I truly appreciated how the movie covered his skin condition, because for a long time, people believed that his skin was bleached. But again, those pillar moments in his life were just really rushed, which is why I truly believe that this could have been a trilogy. As an MJ fan though, this movie hits all the marks. And can you believe this movie was going to be about 5 hours long? I mean, come on, give me that director's cut right now. I can honestly watch a 5-hour movie of this and will never get tired of it. And I'm already counting down for part 2 of Michael. Part 2 needs to cover the darker aspects of Michael's life, and in great depth as well. Nothing should be glazed over because we all know what happened to him. And unfortunately, not everything in his life was truly all that colorful. We all know his struggles, which is perfectly fine to show because we all have our own struggles as well. This will allow us to further connect with Michael in that movie more than we already are. So in conclusion, Michael is a celebration of our king of pop. This movie wants to showcase how different Michael was, either good or bad, despite some of it being too glazed over. This movie gives a positive message, a message about second chances, and a message about self-empowerment. Yes, this movie could have taken its time with some moments in his life, and could have covered more pillar moments in his life throughout that time period. Regardless, this movie is loudly saying Michael is still and forever will be the king of pop. This all leads me to my rating for this film, and for this special occasion, I will give out 2 ratings. One is a critic and one is a fan. As a critic, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but as a fan, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. This is definitely the best cinematic experience in theater. I highly recommend buying it in 4K or in VOD for your digital collection. Well, thank you for your time today, my cinematic family. If you are a true cinephile, please hit the subscribe button. By the way guys, if you like this review, you would definitely like checking out my review for Project Hail Mary. That's another unique movie about overcoming your inner struggles and pushing forward. Definitely check that out. I am Chuy, and this is Chuy Cinematic Talk. Take care, and I'll see you next time. And remember, no matter what happens, let your light shine onto the world.